So I was able to go check out Gears of War 3 multiplayer last night at the Gears of War 3 multiplayer event, and let me just say it was really pretty awesome. They were showing off 6 different maps. 4 of those maps will be available in the beta, which is going to launch mid-April. And if you guys bought the Epic Edition of Bulletstorm, then you'll have access to the beta. And I'm pretty sure if you didn't get the Epic Edition of Bulletstorm, there will be other ways to access the beta, maybe later on down the road. But for those of you that will have access to the beta, that will be happening mid-April. And so far, things are shaping up to be pretty awesome. So there's going to be 4 maps in the beta that are available. 2 of them are already predetermined, and they are going to be Checkout, which is my favorite map. I'll tell you a little about that in a minute. And the Thrust Ball Stadium, which was really awesome as well. And if you are a fan of Gears, and you'll probably remember Coltrane being a thrust ball player, and it's like a fictional sport. Now, the beta will also come with a bunch of little goodies for everybody that will be playing it. First of all, you'll get the beta tester title, which, well, I guess will set you apart from the other Gears of War 3 players that will be out there. There's also going to be the Gold Retro Lancer. Now, everybody remembers the Lancer. It's the gun that had the chainsaw on it. It's my favorite weapon of video game history, probably ever, and it's probably a lot of you guys' favorites as well. Now, the Retro Lancer doesn't have the chainsaw, but it does have this pretty huge knife at the end, and you can stab enemies with it and pick them up and fling them, which is always fun. Now, to get the Gold Lancer, there's a few things you have to do first. You'll have to play 90 matches in the beta, and then kill 100 enemies using the Retro Lancer, and that will open up the Golden Retro Lancer for you once you get Gears of War 3. There's also a costume variant for Coltrane, which is going to be Coltrane in his thrust ball uniform, which kind of looks like a football uniform. Now, to get that, you're going to have to do some special things as well. By playing 70 matches in the beta, you'll unlock the Coltrane costume variant. And then if you play 13 more matches playing as Coltrane, you'll unlock him in Gears of War 3. You can also get the Flaming Lancer, which is another version of the Retro Lancer, by getting the Epic Edition of Gears of War 3. Now, Gears of War 3 is due out September 20th this year. I mentioned the 4 different maps. There's going to be 2 that are definite, which I already mentioned, and the other 2, us, the community, get to vote on which 2 we want to see. Now, you might not know a whole lot about each level or each map, but if you go to facebook.com/gearsofwar, you can read about the different specials that each map has and see some screenshots of it, and then you can vote for the levels you want to see in the beta. My favorite map was definitely Checkout. It was like this completely torn down inside of a grocery store. And it just added like this new element to the whole thing. Because, you know, Gears of War, most everything is just rubble and torn down buildings and underground and everything. And Checkout was definitely like a different take on everything. So it didn't feel like the same old Gears of War, you know, environments. But it just added like this whole new like fun aspect. Like, here I am just completely slaughtering people in a grocery store. There are a few other maps they showed off that I really liked. One was called Underpass, which is one of the ones that you can vote on. And just to add a little bit change in the environment and everything, as you play, water will start running down the streets and everything. And that was, when they started mentioning that, I thought it was pretty cool, that the level kind of changes, but not too much. Like, I know there was a map in Gears of War 2 multiplayer where I think it started to sink, or the water level rose or something like that. And I thought that was cool. But Underpass, it didn't really affect the gameplay that much. It just added, like, some cool realism to everything. There was another map I really liked, and I'm not sure what it was called. I think it was called Mercy. But it was like this rundown, you know, city area, kind of chapel-looking place or temple. But what made it different than just every, you know, ruin or rubble scene that was in Gears of War was it had this beautiful, like, greenery and lush environments where the plants and the grass had overgrown it, and it just stood out so much, because usually in Gears of War, everything's, you know, black and gray and white and brown, and I really hadn't seen a lot of color other than blood in Gears of War. So to be playing these levels and seeing this gorgeous, like, scenery of plant life and a lot of green, it just added so much, like, color to the map, which I really, really liked, because in Gears of War 2, one of my biggest complaints was I spent so much time underground, the environments just started running together, and I got bored with the scenery because it was all underground. Everything looked the same, and it was nice to see them finally adding, some color to their levels. Also in the beta will be 3 versus modes that everybody's going to be able to play. So I know I'll be in the beta because I got the Epic Edition of Bulletstorm, and I really hope that a lot of you are going to be in the beta as well. If you didn't get the Epic Edition of Bulletstorm, I'm sure there's going to be other ways to get in on that beta, and because I'd love to play with you guys and get in there and play some Gears of War matches. So yeah, again, beta starts in April, and Gears of War 3 will be out September 20th, and I look forward to playing it with you guys. As always, love you, and make sure you go to facebook.com/Gears of War and vote for the maps you'd like to see most in the beta, and I'll see you online.